Spot and lanternfly preferred host is the tree of heaven, but did you know many other plants act as additional food sources? Even though they prefer a diet of mixed plant species, spot and lanternfly, commonly called SLF, can complete its development by feeding exclusively on grapevines. Eggs, nymphs, and adults can all be found in vineyards during the growing season. Nymphs and adult SLF feed on grapevine sap by inserting their tube-like mouthparts into the vascular tissues of shoots, cordons, and trunks. Adult SLF are relatively large insects, and they consume large amounts of plant sap during their feeding activity. This plant sap contains important sugars and nutrients, which are vital resources for grapevine growth, fruit production and quality, and overall health. As a result, prolonged feeding by a high number of adult SLF on a grapevine can have negative effect on its growth and yield over time. For example, heavy SLF feeding can reduce leaf photosynthesis and the amount of sugar in the fruit at harvest. SLF infestation can also result in changes in grape color, decreasing the color intensity of red grapes. Prolonged SLF feeding can also limit the amount of starch stored in the grapevine roots at the end of the season. Since grapevines are perennial plants, these sugar reserves are important for long-term health and productivity. Our research evaluated the effect of increasing number of adult SLF on grape yield, and what we found is that yields were trending downwards with increased numbers of SLF that fed on the same vines for 2 consecutive years. It's important to keep in mind that this reported effect on grapevine production and health parameters will vary based on several factors, such as vine age and health conditions before SLF infestations, the length of exposure to SLF feeding, the number of insects feeding on a vine, and the grapevine cultivar. SLF can feed on many different types of grapevine, from wild to cultivated species, but they seem to perform better on some species over others. For example, a recent study showed that SLF had better survival rates when feeding on Chardonnay and Cabernet Franc than when feeding on Muscadine grapes. That means some vinifera cultivars could be better hosts for SLF than native grapes. In any case, having access to other suitable hosts like Tree of Heaven or Black Walnut, in addition to grape, appears to improve SLF growth, survival, and reproduction. What else can we learn? As we continue our research, we want to know if these insects can be vector of important grapevine pathogens, like viruses and bacteria, that can cause vine decline and death, and the length of time that adult SLF need to feed on the vines to cause economically relevant damage for grape growers.